All right. So, but the time progressed on that. What led to the final conflict?
So Rhino had been
Yep.
doing, or Walter had been doing this for 5 years.
Yep. Well, no, he never started doing that until I started to get him progressed a little bit further, and then whenever I finally put him in the Admiralty staff, that's when he started really taking a turn for the worse. He was threatening with stabbing himself with a pencil, all that stuff. Okay, fine, dandy, do whatever makes you happy, dude.
Again,
I,
it
I
was another causing other mental issues to pop up for other
yes,
people.
in which that okay, that's fine, whatever. You're gonna do this, go do it. I don't give a crap anymore. Yeah.
Who?
Eventually, after 5 years of it, I've had enough of it, and I told him straight up, look, you either start doing something right, get yourself some professional help, or I'm going to ship you to somewhere else. So you're not going to be without a fleet, but at the same time, I ain't got the patience to deal with you anymore. You're beyond my help. Ninja was being a conniving little con artist. Yeah, you were the one with him the most, but I'm saying from my end, that's what was coming off to me. He was a conniving little con artist. But at the same time,
Sounds like you were really good friends with him. Alright, what I wrote down was I did put the Pyro Ninja play fighting and then put an arrow up to Walter abusing power. And then I put Ninja Con Artist Sean View. Chewed out Miles, eventually left the fleet. Okay, so he attempted power grab.
yes, he did. He was trying to do a big power move by working his way up to the main person, which at the time was me. Yep. And normally, I don't have a problem with people wanting to be friends and stuff. Okay, a little bit of banter. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But when you're trying to take over a fleet, not going to happen. Not on my watch. Hey, you may be taller than all of us, but I still have this adage of I don't care how big you think you are. You're not big enough to be put over my knee and bust ass.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Mm-hmm.
What? Sorry, I am the oldest one here.
All right. At this point in juncture, I'm going to ask anybody and everybody if you want to put in any statements. That includes for myself of what you think we could have done to prevent some of these, how we could have fixed this problem, and let's start trying to come up with some ideas in order to implement and put forward once we have run through the final draft of this.
As far as the incidents and how we possibly could have prevented them, I don't know if y'all should have put up with Walter's bullshit for as long. If if like with Maiden, I don't know how long she's been in, but I didn't tolerate it very long.
No, I kept on getting reports on everybody about Keyless, and let's put it this way. I was trying because he was one of the original members of our fleet. Okay, he was having some issues. I was trying to work with him, trying to get him to understand, try to get things moving.
Okay.
Well, in that retrospect, I was handling it the best I can. But when my job, it started to interfere with my job, then there was a problem.
Right.
9 times out of 10, I don't have a problem helping out the guy. Okay, he's more cognitive than most autistic people I've ever seen. So he has a brain up there. But his deal was he was in a car accident. Brain damage.
Brain injury.
Yeah. So his short-term memory was affected. His long-term memory, not so much. Yes. And which is why I don't take kindly to pity party type bullshits. I've seen more than enough people with the same incidents and the same problems and having to help take care of them to know that if he really truly wanted to, he can get himself better.
Okay, so should we put something in the Constitution about the limit of how long a pity party can be played before we put a stop to it?
Normally, I give about 6 months for it to be done and over with. Things happen, things could change. That 6 months is basically a trial period and based on how long are they going to try to play this same card.
How long was Maiden in the fleet?
I would have to say about a month and a quarter.
So she wasn't in the fleet that long?
Yes.
Okay. Pity party, I would say no more than 2 months.
Okay.
Especially if it's
Okay.
affecting other... If the pity party is starting to affect other people's mental health, it needs to be addressed sooner. So how are we going to put this pity party...
Okay. Now, with this is self-put down to an extent of maximum of 2 months. If it continues to process and extend beyond the time limit, then something has to be done.
Self-deprecation?
Self-doubt. Defecation is another word you could use for it. I put self-doubt.
Alexa, how do you spell self-deprecation?
Self-deprecation is spelled S-E-L-F space D-E-P-R-E-C-A-T-I-O-N.
Limit. Sorry. Two months max. If resolved. If not resolved, addressed more intently. Hold on, let me write this down before... Let me drive it past you guys, because I could draft this up somehow. Alright, self-deprecation limit 2 months max. If not resolved, address more intently. By Admiralty.
Alright.
Sound good?
I can agree to that.
Unless it gets to the severe point like it was with Maiden. Because that was self-harm. That was more.
That was self-mutilation and self-ending.
Yeah, so... for a normal, like, self-pity parties and stuff like that, we can handle it to a certain extent, but if it gets to the severity of like it was with Maiden, then we have to squash it faster. Activity.
Now, I'd say 90 days with that, because that's about 3 months worth.
Yeah. We'll put 3 months.
I said 90 days back whenever this was going on. You got 90 days to fix this problem. Otherwise, next course of action is you're going to be put up on the chopping block if I do not receive any word.
Admiralty. Removed from fleet. Alright,
now,
after 3 months of inactivity in fleet or contact with Admiralty will be removed from fleet.
Yes, and it is not subjugated to and or. It is one or the other. If there is contact with the Admiralty staff or letting them know what's going on, then there can be a prolonged grace period.
Mm-hmm.
If there is no inactivity and there has been no contact from said person for that time frame,
And
and there has been no way to rectify what's going on once you finally have gotten a hold of the said person, then you must therefore determine the D-Day of this said person.
okay, so a change I put after 3 months of inactivity in fleet and no contact with Admiralty will be removed from fleet.
Yes. In which D-Day will be triggered and active. D-Day is Decision Day. Yes. And that's me being gracious to the people because I know things happen. Can't control it. You can't stop it. But what you can do is inform the person of what's going on and notify them of, hey, I'm going to be away for a certain extended period. Can you give me a grace period? How long can you give me before I have to contact you again?
Alright, we didn't say what would happen if somebody asks for real money from other members, and we didn't say what would happen if somebody tries to take responsibility for someone else.
Anybody who dares to try to take responsibility for anybody else on that action will suffer one of two consequences from how I would look at it. If you want to take full responsibility, you and that said person in question will be terminated upon acceptance because there will be no special consequences given to anybody at that given point in time.
Okay,
If
hold
one is
on.
willing to take...
I gotta turn the page because I'm using a composition book with wide rule. Hate
You're
wide
good.
rule.
You're good. If
Well, it's gonna
you
take
could,
a little more than he would like because we're doing multiple things. Okay.
yeah.
No one takes responsibility for others' actions. Okay. Consequences. Now y'all gotta work with me on this because I'm handwriting and looking up at my screen and my glasses are telling me to fuck off. Alright,
all right.
and I don't know where my reading glasses currently are. So I'm gonna have
That's
to do
okay,
a
Crazy.
up and down. Okay.
You're good.
Actions. Consequences. Alright, consequences. Someone takes responsibility where it doesn't fit. Both get the same consequence?
Both will suffer the same decision than if it was to be the one person. Because I have that mentality of, okay, you want to do this?
Did you not hear me ask mine how to spell something? Effect. both parties.
There will be no special ruling whenever it comes to that. There is just a
No.
deal of
No special what? You cut out.
rulings.
Rulings.
There is
Or
only one course. Both will suffer the same decision. Till
taking
one or the other will fess up.
false responsibility.
Basically having to treat them like kids.
And what's the other one? I thought you said there would be 2 actions.
There is 2 actions. If one is taking full responsibility, then only that person will suffer the consequences of that action.
Okay.
Which can be equaled or lessened to an extent.
Alright, this is what I wrote down. No one takes responsibility for other actions. Actions/consequences for the taking responsibility for others. Decision will affect both parties. No special ruling for taking false responsibility.
Yep.
The real money request. Yeah. Yeah, right, Daddy, you're doing something. That means I want to be involved. I got mine even looking at me going, Mom, where the fuck do you belong?
Pyro, where'd you go?
You left the bridge office. You didn't move your controller, so it booted you.
Penny, here is a reminder. Penny, here is a reminder.
We got you on the comms. There. Deet, 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 deet. 3 strikes, then D-Day. McAvoy would understand that term as well. D-Day's decision day.
Sorry. We need to be specific on that.
3-strike ruling. First one, okay, we can overlook it.
As far as what? What they did, if they're not contacting the right person.
Okay. If they... Basically, first one's just... In the 3-strike system that I run, first one you ask about, okay, we'll help you out for a minute. I understand. You're good. But when it comes to real money, there is going to be no exception, and that 3-strike rule will not be counted for. EC, that's where the 3-strike rule will come into play.
For large amounts of EC.
Yes. Well, when it comes to real-world money, there is no exception. That one there, it does not apply to the 3-strike rule. That one there is asking for personal money requisitions.
Alright, I had already wrote down my next one that I wanted to go with was no one asks fleet members for real money. I already wrote that down.
Yeah.
What would be the consequences for the asking for real money?
First one will be a warning. Easy enough. If it persists onto the second or third, then there will be a decision made right then and there. They get one chance to drop the subject.
Okay. They're strike 2, you're out.
Yep, and I
What would
was
be the
not liking
consequence
it.
for strike 2?
Strike 2 is followed by a warning and a strict prohibition on certain projects needing to be done.
Huh? How about suspension?
That's what I mean by strict. If it follows up to the point of the suspension, then that's where it has to go. The reason why I say strict prohibition on that is because there is a deal of if they were asking for EC, okay, they are not
I'm
allowed to
talking
put
about the real money.
EC. Yeah, but with real money, if they're having a hard time with real money, that right there guarantees about at least they get about here. How long did I give Keyless on a prohibition for when he was doing his stupid shit, Pyro? Because I caught him in about midway to Christmas.
Where they cannot donate to the fleet?
He wasn't doing any donations. He was dropped in rank, and he was also prohibited to participate in any admiralty duties.
Let's say for strike 2 for the real money ask, brain train, come back. Not wrist, my brain went screw you. Yes, I call it a brain train, took the wrong track.
It got derailed.
Yeah. They get a decrease in rank, and if they're already low level, beyond low level, then they're booted. Sorry, but they get demoted.
Yes, and the next course of action after that, once the prohibition is up, when they are reaccepted back in, I had him drop to lieutenant rank with minimum requirements until he proved otherwise that he can do better.
So demotion, and I'm just putting a demotion is strike
Yeah.
2. Strike 3, you're out of fleet.
Strike 3, there is no second chances. It's going to be left up to a majority vote.
Okay, decision made
At that point.
by Admiralty.
Yes. It will be among the Admiralty staff that there will be a majority vote taking place. That's where the decision will be made. And that's why I bring all Admiralty staff into this when it comes to it, because I need everybody's input before I do something personal.
Okay, first strike, warning. Second strike, demotion. Strike 3, decision by Admiralty staff.
Yes.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Alright, let's do the 3 strike rule.
Yeah.
You're typing, I'm not.
All right. Now, with the deal of what he wants to move on to next, the treatment of other players and conduct.
Conduct. Let's just put conduct. CONDUCT.
You showed me the picture of the little car that's there. Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'm
Nice.
gonna roll a cigarette real fast.
It's the police car in training.
So it was the DOGG?
Yes, it was one of the original police cars. This
The
is a
90 the 89 Firebird?
Firebird Trans Am. It's sick.
DOGG. Dog. Okay.
Cool. Alright. Cool. Alright, sorry about that squirrel moment.
You're fine. Give me a second. I'm doing my squirrel moment. Give the brain a second to go, oh, maybe I want to bring the train back.
Alright. Now, this is where I'm going to ask everybody on their personal opinion on the conduct of the fleet.
Be
So,
respectful
to take your
others.
time, I want honest answers before I vouch my opinion on it.
Be respectful to others. Big one.
Alright. Alright, that could be reserved for people who are brought in that are not fleet members.
This is one I didn't.
Those would be so much easier if I could type it. A little bit.
That's a windshield shot. Daddy.
You're on your
Everything
own
else
with the
is good
soda
except for the
department.
wheels.
Those are actually original.
Basically, the best way to act is the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And if there are issues, you will be warned. If there's still more issues, you will be demoted. If there's still more issues, we will make a decision as an Admiralty staff.
That will be among fleet members.
Yes. If we have non-fleet members, they still need to treat other fleets and other non-fleet members with respect no matter what.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if, I would say, demotion if they're in the fleet?
Second time, if they're not in there, they will get a more strict warning.
Right. So put
and
for,
limited talk to certain people for
Okay.
non-fleet members.
all right, you need to specify on that, Pyro. That's why we're saying what we're saying. When you go to strike 2, for fleet members, demotion. For non-fleet members, severe warning and limited chat with certain members. Works for me.
Yep, that right there is actually what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it falls under the situation.
Sometimes the situation may go straight to strike three. It depends on the severity of the disrespect or
Yep.
offense against the other people.
Crazy. You were one to talk to McAvoy about that.
I haven't even messaged him. I was asleep all day, but look. Okay, I am requesting that people try to donate a minimum of 500 dilithium a week.
No, and there is a deal within the fleet mine itself where you can process 500 right off the bat. Yes. Yes, and we will show them the way to do it. Now, if they have the lifetime membership, okay, half the 1,000 refined is easy enough. That's 500.
That was my thought. I would get the dilithium going because that's what's stopping most of the projects. Is the dilithium or lack thereof.
Yes. Now, this is one thing I will add to this. Seeing as how you are talking about adding in the donation stuff. With that, with the donations of the 500 lithium, that would be to the select projects by the Admiralty staff as directed
We can put
to
out a
push
weekly.
projects.
Somebody can put a weekly mail out saying donate to this project this week or this section this week. Donate to this section this week. That would be me. Right. So I would put it out every week. Please donate to this, like, colony this week, or donate to K-13 this week, or donate to Starbase this week. Right. Okay. And I'm thinking we'll just put it in the what area we want them to donate to, because if we complete one spot, then it'll open up another one, and then I'll fill it in as we go. Yeah, we need to make sure that they leave the dilithium mine alone, though, and we'll have to discuss the limited time ones, because it's maxed.
Which is why I put in there by the strict order of Admiralty, which means we know what projects need to be run. We need help to this. Okay, this is what we're going to do with this weekly's donations. They're going to this project for this reason.
To the Starbase for this reason, then it's gonna, or K-13 for this reason.
Yes.
As the other donation, I was gonna put in, if they feel they can afford to donate any duty officers, green or below. As far as rarity. I know, but we don't want people giving away their gold ones if they happen to have them, or their purples, because they're so hard to come by. And if you've got a newbie person that doesn't realize it, we want to tell them try to stick with the white or the green. For right. Right. Because, yeah, I've only got 2 gold ones, and Sean didn't even know they had gold ones.
Crash course that real quick. I was in the middle of looking at something.
The rarity of the duty officers.
Okay, rarity of the duty officers. In my opinion, if you have duplicates, you can donate duplicates of higher rarities. But if anything else of, say, like blue and below, yes. Well, that whole thing also falls into the deal of duplicates. If they have double of the same officer, I mean the exact same officer. You good?
And before you send that up to McAvoy, let us see it and see if we can add anything to it before you send it up. Like you just sent it to us, a draft. Just when you send it to the Admiralty, you can send it to the Admiralty, but say draft of Constitution. Any changes? We also, when it comes to donating, we do need to take into account the level, and because if we get people that are brand new to Starfleet, they're not going to know what's going on. We could say at a maximum the level 40. Once you hit level 50, because that's when you can start doing reputation. When you reach a level of 50, this is when you have to start donating 500 a week. Sounds good to me. What do you think, Sean?
Sounds good to me.
We're at 45 minutes again of this the new broadcast. I understand that. I may have to start it again in another 5 minutes or so. Okay. And for the Admiralty, we have to make sure that we can be contacted in some way, shape, or form. Right. As long as somebody sees that somebody need, like, if we pay attention to party chat or individual chat or anything like that, if we get told I need to talk to you about the fleet, then somebody needs to contact that person that wants to be in contact of the Admiralty. I'm also usually not that busy during the week, except for when I'm sleeping, and then I don't hear my phone at all usually. I a cat napper. I can, yeah, sleep for hours or a little bit. Sometimes, yeah. What time is it?
Alright. It is 9:54.
Rule? R-U-L-E.
RULE. Smart
My
ass, more
sister
like it.
asked me how to spell it one time. Sometimes your brain just goes, no. Blue and above.
That will give them plenty of time to accumulate and stockpile.
And I still don't know how to check when people have actually donated. Okay.
Yeah.
And not just the leaderboard, because the leaderboard just tells me who's donated the most. That doesn't tell me who's done the minimum that we're asking. Can you select the person? Yes.
Okay, there is an easy way to do this. It would be there's a fleet log bank, but then there's also active logs. It keeps track of most stuff that's going on within the fleet. See here, there is the overview. All right.
Activity logs. It just shows who's been promoted, who hasn't.
Yeah, normally it shows more than that if you go by a certain deal. Unfortunately, you cannot change the time date on that, so that's the sad part.
Yeah. But it doesn't show who's donated what and what, so that's where...
So your fleet holding.
And the fleet holdings doesn't really tell me either.
Give me a
Unless...
second. I'm going through and I'm looking.
Well, that won't work either. I did use a little bit of the coffers today to put some people It's on duty officers in. Oh!
All right.
So we're gonna say
I would have to say to help fix this problem of who donated what. Crazy is
have them report in the family chat that they donated.
have them report that they've donated to you personally. How much and where.
Okay.
Try to minimize that so that way you can keep personal logs. Like today, I was about to tell you before we got this whole meeting started, I did put some donations toward where K13. I did drop in some personnel to increase that. It was at like 26 or 28, and it's now up to 52.
Okay.
On engineering and operation duty officers.
Alright. Alright. Have members message me how much, what, and where they donated.
Yeah. K13 project upgrades, the retrofit engineering facility upgrade.
Okay.
That's where I've put that. I was going to send you a physical deal here, but I was trying to get everything else lined up here first, so that kind of got put to the back burners until now.
That's fine. Just go ahead and send a. I'll start recognizing who. Alright, so we're going to end the broadcast now. So, meeting ended at 10 o'clock. Did 10 or 2200 Central Time. That sound good?